Hello, all you degenerate old schoolers, and welcome back to another episode of The Orb. Tonight, we're on the semifinals of X.50, and Nick's slinging cards from his seat at the top, and Michael is shuffling like a pro down below. This should be a good one. I love X-Point so much. It encompasses so many more of the cards. I mean, I got the absolute living shit beat out of me by an X-Points Enchantress deck sometime in the last 24 hours, and had a ball getting clubbed to death the whole way. So, we're not looking at that match. We're going to look at the two that made it down to the Final Four to see who goes on to play for the finals for the month. Let's take a look at their decks. And here we go with a look at Nick's deck. Oh, Blue Berserk. I like this. I mean, it's blue, it's green, it has Berserks. Let's take a quick look at how he spent his points first. 3 points into the Loa, which that 1 point drop I think has made Loa relevant again. There's a lot of land destruction that's in X points. We don't have quite the ramp because the Moxen are pointed. So Loa is relevant. It's still got a lot of ways to be taken out. About everyone still plays with at least one strip mine. Or the one strip mine on their deck. I say that because I've built decks before and submitted them and then realized, oops, I forgot to put in a strip mine. But that's my own disability. He has 3 Mishra's Factories, so that makes 6 points. One of the best creatures in old school. 2 more eat up into a Time Walk. And his last 2 sit in the Wheel of Fortune. It's right above the strip mine. Kind of hard to see. It's a red card there. So I'm staring at this deck, and it's screaming like 12 more reasons to go out and buy another city in a bottle. He is loaded down with our cards from Arabian Nights. He's got 4 dibs. Obviously, one of the best, most efficient flyers out there. 3/4 for 3 mana. 4 Urnums. I mean, where do you get a 4-drop with a 5 toughness like that? And then he's got 3 unstable mutations in that aforementioned Loa out there library. So the unstable mutations can go and just be slammed down on his Birds of Paradise, and instead of having 4 dibs in his deck, now it's like he has 7. He can turn that bird into a dib for a turn, and then it's still an effective attacker after that. He's got 3 giant growths and 4 berserks to make for an unpleasant, uneasy day for his opponent. He is running also 4 juggernauts. A couple disintegrates, Sylvan Library to help him dig, the 1 Chaos Orb, play set of bolts, and the 2 other blue cards that we haven't mentioned in his deck are Control Magic, and Control Magic is so good in X points. I mean, best case scenario, it's a 1-for-1, right? And that's what we see a lot of, but the reality is, unless your opponent's dealing with a way to get rid of disenchants, or get rid of enchantments with like disenchants, Control Magic often becomes a 2-for-1. Now, where it can come bite you is if you're playing against someone that doesn't play creatures, and that doesn't happen quite as often in X points, right? Creatures are the main win condition, but that being said, there are some decks that you'll face that have no creatures in them. And then Control Magic goes from being like a 2-for-1 down to a 0-for-1, right? Just dead cards in your deck. But that's why we have the sideboard, and we can see in the sideboard he's got a couple Earthquakes, 2 Flash Fires, 3 Energy Fluxes, 3 Rebs, 3 Bebs, and 2 Shatterstorms. So he's ready to deal with those artifact-heavy decks. I like the look at this deck. It seems angry from the get-go. Now, let's take a look at what he's up against tonight. And here's a look at his opponent's deck, Michael. Let's talk about his points here. We can see he's got 2 Moxen in the middle, gorgeous looking unlimited, Pearl and Ruby, and then he's got 4 points sunk into his factory and 2 more into the wheel. But the factory is almost a little counterintuitive because right above there he has 3 Blood Moons down. But Blood Moons are pretty effective. I do see a lot more typically basic land in X points than I do in, a traditional old school format like Eternal Central or Atlantic or Swedish. Those you see just a ton ton of duels, but because of the points restrictions, people have to focus a little bit more, and because of that, we see a lot more basic lands. You can see he has no mountains in there. He doesn't need them. If he turns everything into a mountain, he can cast his other red cards. He can cast his chains, and his bolts, and his wheel. Other than that, he's set up real great for White Weenie here. He's got Savannah Lions, 4 Acacian Javelineers, which those little bastards are so helpful. A playset of Thunder Spirits. I love Thunder Spirit. I've never owned any, but 3 for 2/2 flying for a strike. You know, its arch nemesis is the Dib. Obviously, if you get 2 Thunder Spirits down, it can deal with the Dib, but you're going to need both of them. I also like the White Knights. Protection from black goes a long way, and first strike with a 2 power and toughness, I think, goes a long way too in this format. He's got 4 White Pump Knights, and then pretty close to a playset of removal. Playset of Swords to Plowshares and 3 Disenchants round out his deck. His sideboard, he can make some changes here. He's got, 4 Black Vice, and I'm sure those come in when his opponent's on the draw. I'd like to think they come in too if his opponent's playing something slow. 1 City in a Bottle, and I did mention that. I did not know he was playing with it, but I mentioned City in a Bottle a few minutes ago, and that might be a hefty card to bring in to deal with his opponent's deck. A couple Preachers, which I love in these creature-heavy formats. Preacher goes off and just steals the congregation away and sends them to go kill you. Divine Offerings, a Disenchant, and a Sarah, 3 Red Elemental Blasts, and 1 Fork. Gotta love the Fork being in there. Such a cool card. So, I've said enough things. Let's get off to game number 1. And here we go with game number 1. Nick won the Name That Smell contest, so he is on the play. Both of these players keeping their opening hand. Nick fires down a City of Brass, taking the first damage, knocking himself down to 19. And a Birds of Paradise, immediate mana ramp. Oh, Michael shows up with a Javelineer. Those birds look like they might be on the end of a stick here soon. And just a pass. Back to Nick, firing down some power, plays a Time Walk after he plays a Strip Mine, and he's moving on to turn number 3. His ramp is getting pretty insane. Another City of Brass. Oh, taking 2 more points, drops himself down to 17. Michael's still sitting on 20. We got 4 tapped here. Oh, look at this. Control Magic. One way to keep your Birds of Paradise alive. Take the man with the stick away from your opponent. So Nick is now in possession of those Javelineers. Birds of Paradise are safe. And Michael comes up with another plateau into a White Knight here. Bit of glare on the screen, but I'm like 96.3% sure that's a White Knight. He does pass back to Nick. So, yeah, Nick's still got 4 mana on board. Tapping those City of Brass again. Man, those things hurt when they show up in pairs. Drops himself down to 15 and powers out an Urnum Djinn. 5 toughness is going to be a handful for Michael to deal with. Although with that first strike, if you find that lightning bolt, you can say fucking tap 1 white and Swords to Plowshare. Look at this. Swordsing off the Urnum. Puts Nick back up to 19 life. And here comes a White Knight in for 2. Dropping him back down to 17. The Urnum's been answered and now permanently removed from the game. Only something as crazy like a Ring of Maroof can bring him back. So Michael misses a land drop, does not have a follow-up play after he sends that White Knight in. Passes back to Nick. Oh, look at this. Nick sending in the Acacian Javelineer. Michael loses his first point of life and drops down to 19. Here comes another Birds of Paradise. So Nick's still mana fixing, and look at this. Nick's activating Strip Mine. There's a response. Lightning Bolt on the Acacian Javelineers. That Javelineer was actually carrying around a lightning rod this whole time and had no clue of it. Not a whole lot of mana fixing really going on here. White Knight cracking back in again. Nick's got to answer himself, and he's turning up the heat on the White Knight. And Michael drops down a Savannah Lion. So lots of lightning flying both directions. I guess he had to get rid of his own Acacian Javelineer before he could play out that Savannah Lions. Did not want to lose those lions to his own Javelineer. And look at this, 2 more damage being done from City of Brass. Nick's down to 15, and he's taking control of those Savannah Lions. Wow, just a draw go here for Michael. Nick finds his 3rd City of Brass. That is so painful. At least he does have the 2 birds out there. Savannah Lions is cracking in for 2 more and dropping Michael down to 17. Michael's dropping down to, looks like 13 life and playing a Wheel of Fortune. Oh, look at those 2 Blood Moons, a Disenchant. White Pump Knight. I think another White Knight, all to the bin. Looks like Nick had to throw away a Berserk. I couldn't see his other cards. But both these players going back up to 7. Nick definitely got the card advantage out of that one. So back to Michael's turn. He plays down a Mishra's Factory. Looks like he wants to tap 2. Tapping 1 for a Chain Lightning. Gonna go ahead and chain away his own Savannah Lions. And just a pass. So twice Michael's had to unfortunately use a 2 for 1. He lost his own creature, and then he had to go off and kill his own creature. And as I mentioned before, Nick had way less cards when he played the Wheel of Fortune. So again, net up cards, definitely in his favor. Taps 4, including 1 more pain from City of Brass, dropping him down to 12, and fires out an Urnum Djinn. 4/5 big boy again. Let's see if Michael's got another answer for it. Last Urnum was sent to go work the fields. Michael does have a Pump Knight out of Fallen Empires. So that's a serious card. That card is also going to get Forest Walk. And Nick is lower on life here. We can see the Urnum jamming in. Dropping Michael down to 13. Nick's still on 12. Tapping 3. Oh, Disintegrate. Looks like he's doing it for 2. That Pump Knight's removed from the game. Nick's tapping some more to play possibly a Chaos Orb. I'm not actually 100% sure on that. It could be like a Wigwam. Who the hell knows what it is? But back to Michael's turn. Plays a factory. Taps 2. He's got a Chaos Orb. I'm like 99% sure on that one. Ooh, Michael's tapping 2 for a Disenchant. So whatever artifact that was is now in the bin. It could also have been a Juggernaut. I know he has some Juggernauts in his deck. That kind of would make sense here. Urnum's cracking in for 4 more. Michael's dropping down to 9 life. Things are not looking great for him. He does have that Chaos Orb on board, is tapped out, and he has 2 factories. Nick's still on 12. He's on the play here, and that Urnum is just beating the living daylights out of Michael. Tapping 4. New Urnum Gen. Problem after problem showing up here. Oh, but Michael's got another answer. 3rd factory out. I guess the factory can make himself a 5/5 with all his brethren out there. And then the Chaos Orb there for backup to take down the other Urnum. So Michael is finding some outs here. Looks like he's passing back to Nick. Nick has to give no one Forest Walk, as Michael doesn't have any creatures out. I think if you're Nick at this point, you just do a full send, right? Or do you create a standoff? Tapping 4. Holy shit. You know, you just invite more people to the party that look like you. 3rd Urnum Gen down. The 4th one's out farming. So, amassing an army there. Back to Michael's turn, and he's got another sword. He wanted to end up sending one of those dudes to go play with his other buddy at the farm. That does give Nick some breathing room, runs him back up to 16 life. And look at this, Michael plays out a dib. Oh, fuck, what's better than 1 dib? 2 dibs, holy shit. The Arabian Nights are showing up. A City in a Bottle would absolutely wreck Nick's board state, but that does not matter now. There's not one in play. 2 dibs, 2 Urnums, 3 City of Brass. That's a lot of Arabian Night cards. Back to Michael, he does find a Strip Mine, taking down the Volcanic Island, at least one of them. So Nick's on 15, Michael's on 9. I feel like we're going to see some big movement here. I mean, at this point, I think you just, send the dibs in over the top. Leave the fat-bodied boys to stay in for blockers. Yeah, and that's what he's doing. He drops to 13 in his upkeep from the dibs, but cracks in for 6 here. Michael's on 9, so that would put him in bolt range. Activating a Chaos Orb. So there was a little bit of talk about this. They agreed beforehand that they were going to use Gentleman's Rules and that all Chaos Orb activations would count as a hit. But we can see Michael did a flippy flip on the card and totally missed. But it's what they agreed to begin with. and that's what they stick by. So Michael drops down to 6 life. Thank goodness for gentlemen's rules. And tapping things. Tapping 3. Plays out a Thunder Spirit. That's a body blocker for that dib. He does lose another life and drops down to 5 by tapping that City of Brass. Nick's down to 12 in his upkeep. And here comes the team in. Yeah, Michael's on 5. He needs to do something big here. Looks like he's going to drop to 4. Tap one of the cities. Activate a factory. Yeah, work the math out. He's going to die either way. Earnham's and Dibs over the top for the win. Nick's up game number 1. These two are going to swap out some cards and move on to game number 2. And here we go with game number 2. Nick took down game number 1. Lots of big-bodied Arabian Night creatures, so Michael's on the play, slams down planes into a Savannah Lions. Classic white weenie start. Oh, Nick playing with more Arabian Night cards. Look at this. Loa, turn 1 on the draw. Michael plays out a factory and sends in his Savannah Lions. Oh, look at this. Immediate answer for the Loa. There is a city in a bottle. Oh, this is going to hurt Nick bad. Yeah, he gets to tap it once. Nick is on 18. Took first damage from the Savannah Lions. He got to replace his Loa with 1 card by tapping it. But City is in control here. And Michael's on 20. Nick plays out a factory of his own. Oh, has to discard. Discard the City of Brass. Must have a bunch of mana sources in hand. Here comes Savannah Lions in again, dropping Nick down to 16. Nick plays out some power, just a ruby and a pass. So, oh, I'm sorry, Michael plays out power, ruby and a pass, but Nick plays out a taiga and passes back to his opponent. Not quite the fierce start he started off with game number 1. Michael activating factories, sending in the team. Looks like factories coming up, and there's a Swords to Plowshares for it. Nick's going to gain 3 life, but then immediately take 4 damage. He's going to drop down to 15 life. So Michael's definitely applying the pressure and taking away mana sources from Nick there. Nick finds a tropical island and just a pass. Michael activating again, coming in for 4 once more. Ouch, Nick's going to drop down to 11 life. Michael tapping 2 white for a white knight. Yeah, he is in control of this game. Nick is becoming just a passenger here. Oh, and look at that scoop. I wonder if he had a handful of Arabian Nights cards. Michael does slam down that City in a Bottle again, but he's going to have to pick it back up and see if he gets it next game. So game number 2 went flying by. More cards will be swapped out. We'll move on to game number 3. So game number 2, if you blinked, it was over with. Nick lost. They're 1-1 here. Nick plays down a Factory. Michael slams down a Plains into an Acacian Javelineer. These two are off to the races. Yeah, sends Factory in for 2, and first damage of the game is done. Michael dropping to 18. Nick's still on a solid 20. Acacian Javelineer cracking in for 1, dropping Nick down to 19. And here's a White Knight. That's a hell of an answer for the Factory. Nick tapping 3 and a Dibs on board. Back to Michael's turn. Look at this. He's sending in the White Knight. Dropping Nick down to 17. And 3 for a Blood Moon. Oh, wow. That means Nick is going to have 3 mountains. And probably not a whole lot of access to what he needs here. Dib's going to deal him a point, drop him down to 16. And here comes Dib in. Puts Michael down to 15. So very close game. These two are racing game number 3 here. Unfortunately, Nick just plays out another mountain. And Michaels does the same thing on his turn. Lots of expensive mountains here. Oh, City in a Bottle. What a kick straight to the dick. Wow. That's a Rochambeau from across the room. There's 3 more damage coming in from the White Knight and the Acacian Javelineer. Nick's down to 13 life. He plays out another mountain. Another gorgeous looking mountain. Unfortunately, I feel like he needs more than just mountains in his deck. Cracks in for another 3. Nick's down to 10 life. He's got to be sweating it a little bit. He needs to come up with an Earthquake would be spectacular. Good 2-for-1 to crack back in here. Doesn't have anything to play out. Passes to Michael again. Michael found a ruby. Might as well be a mountain at this point. Cracks in for another 3 and drops Nick down to 7. Three more are being tapped. Oh, Michael plays out some backup Blood Moon. Make sure that when everything seems like it's not going to be mountains, they will stay mountains. Yeah, here comes Michael in again, cracking in for another 3, like a lightning bolt every turn. Nick is down to 4 life and shows him his hand. Oh, that is so tough. 5 green cards and an unstable mutation. Yeah, oh, look at that. If he would have gotten 1 creature down to stick, he could have played all that out. Trampled in, flew over. It would have been big, bad, and ugly. Useless cards in hand. Wow. So congratulations to Nick, making top 4. Even bigger congratulations to Michael. Well done. You will be moving on to the finals coming out here in mere days. So stay tuned for the orb. I will have those finals here in just a few more days. As always, thanks for watching and have a good night.